Hello everybody, I'm Drew Abbenhouse. Welcome to SICW Wrestling Explosion. We've got a special treat for you today as we're going to take a trip back in time and take a look at one of the greatest of all time, the former NWA heavyweight champion and the multiple-time Hall of Famer, the one and only Jack Briscoe. We have Jack Briscoe taking on Bill Irwin. We're going to look at when Jack Briscoe met up with the fearsome Giant Baba, the Japanese superstar. And Jack Briscoe caught up with Larry Matisic for a great sit-down chat. We're going to take a look at that. And folks, we're going to get right to everything. After a quick word from our sponsors, we're going to be right back with Jack Briscoe versus Bill Irwin. Don't go away.
Let Custom Truck Upholstery give your vehicle a facelift. Visit us on 707 North 20th Street in East St. Louis, Illinois. Custom Truck Upholstery merges old-world craftsmanship and attention to detail with the latest in modern technology to make your car, truck, boat, or motorcycle look like new. Call Custom Truck Upholstery at 618-875-9850.
Belleville Mechanical Incorporated is the place to go for commercial and industrial heating, ventilation, air conditioning, and refrigerating work. Their Union Sheet Metal Shop is the most modern, well-equipped in southwestern Illinois. Their work on the SICW Engineering Building won Belleville Mechanical the Madigan Special Merit Award for new construction. Call 233-0081 for information. Belleville Mechanical will fabricate ductwork and custom fittings to your specifications. The highest union quality, superb workmanship, state-of-the-art equipment. Contact Belleville Mechanical.
Blackwell, Oklahoma, weighing 232 pounds, the former heavyweight champion of the world, Jack Briscoe. His opponent from Minnesota, weighing 245 pounds, Bill Irwin.
The site is Tampa, Florida, and it's Jack Briscoe against Bill Irwin. Briscoe giving away some size to Irwin. The former NCAA champion, Jack Briscoe, comes to grips with Irwin. Nice arm drag by Briscoe, flings Bill Irwin to the mat. Again, they tie up on a second arm drag by Briscoe. Irwin charges. Briscoe's waiting again. Quickness was always one of the strengths of Jack Briscoe, and it still is. Don't forget, Briscoe was one of the younger world heavyweight champions ever when he dethroned Harley Race back in 1973 in Houston, Texas. Jack was truly a brilliant world heavyweight champion, and he's right at the top of the list right now, chasing Dusty Rhodes in the gold belt. And, of course, what happens when Briscoe and Ken Patera square off in that Texas death match, that could well determine who's going to get cracks at major titles. A lot at stake when Briscoe and Patera go at it in a Texas death match. Anything goes. Falls don't count. The winner is declared. When one man concedes the bout, the referee stops the match due to injury, or someone cannot answer a 10 count after the 30-second rest period between falls. No time limit, anything goes. Briscoe and Patera have been at it before. They've tried to destroy each other. Well, they've really got a chance in a Texas death match. Briscoe working with his knee on the shoulder of Bill Irwin, grinding that shoulder, then twists the arm so more pressure's in the shoulder. Talk about the great scientific ability of someone like Pat O'Connor. Well, Jack Briscoe certainly fits right into that class. Undefeated in high school competition in the state of Oklahoma. He won the state high school wrestling title every time he competed. NCAA champion. He only lost one match in college, a 4-year career. And you know, of course, of his credentials as a professional. Toss in there, too, when he was playing high school football, he was all-state as a fullback. The drop kick there by Briscoe. Irwin brought to his feet by Briscoe. Jack always aggressive, always combative. He goes to the figure four leg lock on Bill Irwin. What happens if he can get that on Ken Patera in the Texas death match and snap that knee of Patera? That would be interesting. It's Briscoe with the figure four leg lock on Irwin, who submits, and Jack Briscoe, the former world and Missouri champion, has another victory. We're back with more in a moment.
Farm music and fun. The place to party is Pop's nightclub and concert venue in Sojay. From Bruno Mars of the first U.S. tour of Nickelback to Flogging Molly or the Insane Clown Posse, 30 years of memories pack Pop's concert venue with more made at every new show. And there's a party at Pop's nightclub every night, a melting pot of friends enjoy the best in dance, rock, pop, and top 40 music until 5:30 a.m. Plus add a full game room. Check out all the action at popsrocks.com. Then and now, the place to party is Pop's in Sojay.
The old season is over. The new season is coming. The Gateway Grizzlies are building for a spectacular campaign. The talent will be strong, hard-hitting, solid defense, reliable pitching. Plus, as always, the Grizzlies will have a schedule of superb promotions. It will be fun for the entire family at the right price. The Grizzlies were named the Frontier League Organization of the Year. The home for all this baseball excitement is a remarkable GCS ballpark. Make plans now to enjoy baseball the way it should be. For more information and updates, go to gatewaygrizzlies.com.
St. Louis was always one of Jack Briscoe's very favorite cities to wrestle in. We're going to see when he made a visit back to town, the one and only Larry Madison caught up with Mr. Briscoe to reminisce about all sorts of topics. Folks, strap in. This is a great conversation between two old friends.
It's good to be back in St. Louis, and what a delicious meal we just had here.
Well, that's good. Hey, and it's delicious having you here and seeing a lot of old friends, because you had so many great matches in St. Louis. You must have some good memories of this town.
I've got a lot of fond memories of St. Louis, not only of St. Louis, but like you said, all the different people that I've wrestled here over the years, and coming here so many times, made a lot of great friends here in St. Louis, and it's always been, always had a really fond memories of it, and I always thought a lot of Sam Mushnick. He was a great man, and Sam was always a pleasure to work for, and very professional, and it was just great to come here. And St. Louis is like the wrestling capital of the world, as everyone knows, and it was an honor for everyone to come here and get to wrestle for Sam.
Of course, Jack Briscoe, as you know, he was a national collegiate champion from Oklahoma State University, and he went on to win this gold belt July 20th, 1973. In Houston, Texas, when he defeated Harley Race. This gold belt went around Jack Briscoe's waist as the world heavyweight champion. But before that, before the National Collegiate Championship, Jack Briscoe was a kid in Blackwell, Oklahoma, just like me and like a lot of you fans, and you fell in love with wrestling. How did it happen?
Oh, I was a big wrestling fan. Watch it in Oklahoma. It'd come on Saturday night, 10 o'clock on Saturday night. I was always in front of the TV, and on every weekends, we'd go up to the corner drugstore and look through all the magazines. I looked through all the magazines and read all the stories about them, and all the different guys that are in different parts of the country. And of course, Lou Thez was my idol. I thought he was the greatest thing in the world, which he was. And Danny Hodge had just started wrestling pro, and I'd followed Danny's career through the University of Oklahoma. And me being a wrestler, Danny was one of my idols also, and I was thrilled when he turned professional. I started watching him on TV, and of course followed him through the magazines, but I actually became a huge fan through the magazines.
Really? Yeah, so did I. We probably were reading the same magazines back in those days. Wrestling Review.
I wouldn't doubt it. I'm sure they were. But another one of my, two of my favorites were the bad guys, Skull Murphy and Brute Bernard.
I remember them, Skull Murphy and Brute Bernard. See, we have a little history here. Now, when you moved from the collegiate ranks to professional ranks, was this something that was in your mind all along as you were an amateur wrestler at Oklahoma State University? Is this something you knew you wanted at that time?
Yeah, I knew from high school, from becoming a pro wrestling fan, and through idolizing Lou Thez and Danny Hodge. I thought, man, this would be the great life to do. And I always wanted to, I loved amateur wrestling, and I thought, well, if I'm good at this, I would love to go ahead and turn professional, and follow in Lou's footsteps and Danny's footsteps. And so every time when I was in college, wrestling in college, every time I would get a newspaper interview or a TV interview, and I would always tell them in there that when I'm through with amateur wrestling, I want to be a pro wrestler. So.
Well, and Jack Briscoe certainly did that, and did it well, because he ended up with this around his waist. And part of the success was, of course, you had great success in Florida, and eventually you came to St. Louis. August 15th, 1969 was that first match here in St. Louis. Golly, can you even remember back that? Were you excited? Were you nervous? Did St. Louis mean anything special to you at that point in your career?
Yeah, St. Louis was very special. St. Louis, to be coming to St. Louis was one of my goals, because all the wrestlers wanted to come to St. Louis, because it was just such a hotbed, and all the top talent in the world was here every other week to wrestle here, and to come to St. Louis and make it in St. Louis was a really big deal. And it was something I strived for and something I worked for.
And of course, one thing about St. Louis, I think through the years, and you can look back at the history of St. Louis wrestling, one thing Sam Muchnick did, he would give young talent, if it was good, he'd give you a chance, he'd give you the ball and see how far you could carry it.
Unique and affordable gifts and collectibles on the internet are available at the Black Bear Haversack Trading Post. Go to blackbearhaversack.com. Semi-precious stones, bone horn and soapstone items, abalone shells, genuine coyote and water buffalo teeth pendants, products for Civil War, medieval, and Renaissance reenactments, and so much more. For a 10% discount, mention SICW number 7 when you place your order. It's blackbearhaversack.com for top quality at reduced prices.
SICW is pleased to welcome as a new sponsor Warmo Witter Chrysler and Associates Inc., independent insurance agent specializing in public entity insurance. For all your insurance needs, contact Bradley J. Chrysler at 618-632-7555, extension 806. That's 618-632-7555. When it comes to customer service for your insurance coverage, let Warmo Witter Chrysler and Associates assist you.
Fans, let's take a trip back to August the 8th of 1975 in the Kiel Auditorium. The NWA Championship was on the line as Jack Briscoe defends against Giant Baba. The footage is a little bit grainy. It's presented in segments. This was recorded on 8mm film, so it's a little grainy, but this is historic, tremendous footage, folks. We think you're really going to enjoy this. Jack Briscoe versus Giant Baba.
Heavyweight champion, and Jack Briscoe has the first fall of a best-of-3 falls battle. Referee Bobby Whitlock raising Briscoe's hand. The first fall belongs to Briscoe. Beautiful wrestling by the champion. Baba coming right back with chops to the head of Jack Briscoe. Remember, we got this film out of our library. We apologize perhaps for some of the little bumps and yips that'll be in there, but it tells the story of what was a great historical night for wrestling in St. Louis. The Japanese media all over ringside, both television stations, newspapers, as the Giant Baba tried to become the world heavyweight champion. For the second time, he'd beaten Briscoe once. He wanted to do it again. Briscoe covered by Baba. Whitlock in to make the count, but Jack Briscoe kicking out. Briscoe struggling. Those chops to the throat had taken a toll on Jack Briscoe. Briscoe, a former national amateur champion from Oklahoma State University. He actually got into wrestling in high school. He had a football coach when Jack was a freshman, and the football coach suggested that Jack do something to stay in shape for football. Jack started wrestling as a sophomore, and he captured the Oklahoma State title as a sophomore in high school. And even though he was a football all-state choice, wrestling was the choice that Jack Briscoe would make as a career from there on out. Baba with a high kick to Briscoe. Briscoe down. Baba covering. Briscoe, knowing exactly where he is in the ring, used the ropes to save himself from a potential pin. Nerve clamp by the Giant Baba briefly. And remember, these are highlights as we move along. Briscoe throwing a left hand to the stomach of Baba, fighting desperately from underneath, trying to take Baba down to size. Look at the size differential between Baba and Briscoe, but Briscoe always had fire, always had hunger, was always willing to scrap for what he wanted. Flying tackle by Briscoe. Here he comes again. Oh, and he walks right into the lariat, the clothesline by the Giant Baba. Baba covers Briscoe, count of 1, 2, and 3. The second fall belonging to the Giant Baba. Briscoe in trouble here, the World Heavyweight Championship, hanging by a thread. Jack Briscoe trying to keep that gold belt. Baba has won the second fall. It's one fall apiece in this rubber match at Kiel Auditorium in St. Louis. Remember, we're talking August 8th, 1975 when this match happened. Jack Briscoe trying to recover. Baba waiting patiently. Now starting to move. The bell is sounded. Baba right on top of Briscoe. A chop again to the head by the Giant Baba. Briscoe staggering to one knee. Briscoe in real trouble. Another chop by Baba. A big, strong man. He was a cultural hero in Japan. The Giant Baba passed away a couple of years ago, and they actually opened up one of the 20,000-seat arenas in Japan. People filed by to see pictures of Baba. They actually sold out the arena to see pictures of Baba after his death. Baba with a reverse neck breaker on Jack Briscoe. The Giant Baba trying to become world heavyweight champion. Briscoe kicks out. Briscoe whipped to the ropes by Baba. Another chop by Baba. Another whip to the ropes. Briscoe goes beneath. Drop kick by Jack Briscoe. Baba floored. Briscoe hits the ropes again. Both men collide head on. Down goes Baba. Down goes Briscoe. They each have a count of 10 to come to their feet. It was Briscoe who was up first, but then when he went for the knee drop, he missed, landed on his own kneecap. Baba trying to take advantage of that. Jack Briscoe's speed had been an advantage for him throughout the match, and now he's trapped in the half crab of submission hold by the giant Baba, but Briscoe struggles to the ropes. He's thrown against the ropes. Baba misses with his clothesline, but then when Briscoe goes for a giant splash, he runs right into the upraised knees of the giant Baba. Just when it looked as though Briscoe had the advantage because he'd avoided the pinning hold of Baba's second fall, Briscoe walks right into trouble. Side headlock. Oh, shades of Lou Thez. Greco-Roman back body drop by the world heavyweight champion. He cradles a leg, and Jack Briscoe, with a classic Greco-Roman back body drop, has defeated the giant Baba, and Jack Briscoe is still the world heavyweight champion, one of the greatest champions of all time. Here he is, Jack Briscoe, celebrating a big victory over the giant Baba in 1975. Farm music and fun. The place to party is Pop's nightclub and concert venue in Sojay. From Bruno Mars of the first U.S. tour of Nickelback to Flogging Molly or the Insane Clown Posse, 30 years of memories pack Pop's concert venue with more made at every news show. And there's a party at Pop's nightclub every night, a melting pot of friends enjoy the best in dance, rock, pop, and top 40 music until 5:30 a.m. Plus add a full game room. Check out all the action at popsrocks.com. Then and now, the place to party is Pop's in Sojay.
SICW is pleased to welcome as a new sponsor Warma Witter Chrysler and Associates Inc., independent insurance agent specializing in public entity insurance. For all your insurance needs, contact Bradley J. Chrysler at 618-632-7555, extension 806. That's 618-632-7555. When it comes to customer service for your insurance coverage, let Warma Witter Chrysler and Associates assist you.
Wrestling fans, join SICW Saturday, December the 10th in the East Carondelet Community Center, where we are joined by the one and only legendary manager, the Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart. Great wrestling action featuring all of your usual favorites, plus again, the one and only Jimmy Hart. Reserve your tickets now at 618-286-4848. Again, that's 286-4848.
But you made it up there enough to become the world heavyweight champion. Let me throw out some names to you. People you worked with over the years here in St. Louis. Just gut feelings, quick reactions, what you thought of them. Gene Kiniski.
Whew, big thunder. It hurts you every time you get in the ring with him. Gene was a huge man and a great talent. Of course, he was a world champion himself. And thing about Gene, I used to try to tire a lot of these guys out. The guys were big and strong, and this fast guys, I try to wear them out. That was one of my long suits. But with Gene, you can never wear Gene out.
That's what Lou Thez always said. He said Kiniski just had incredible stamina.
You couldn't even get Gene tired. He could go all night long.
He got you tired.
Yeah.
Okay.
Got me tired just trying to get him tired.
Well, you had some great matches with him, and one of the things I can remember we talked about in the early 70s, the first 3 times you wrestled Gene Kiniski, he got the best of you. The 4th time, you were the world heavyweight champion. You got the best of him. I still remember that crowd reaction. Kiel Auditorium was sold out when you finally got that big victory over Gene Kiniski. In St. Louis, it meant so much to you. It really legitimized, hey, Jack Briscoe is the champion.
Yeah, I was very proud of that night. And I'd seen Gene around the country as a kid just starting out, and Gene having a belt. And I'd seen him in Texas, I'd seen him in Oklahoma and Arkansas, and he'd having that big gold belt on, the world champion. I thought, man, one of these days, that's what I want to be. And Gene would always tell me, even just as I started out, I said, kid, one of these days, you're going to have this belt.
Yeah,
and I'd just laugh, and he'd laugh. A few years later.
He was right. Pat O'Connor.
Pat O'Connor, a great wrestler, good guy, funny guy. And I always liked Pat because Pat would always tell the greatest stories. He was a great storyteller. And I had been to New Zealand, and of course Pat was from there, and we always talked a lot about New Zealand. I really liked New Zealand while I was there. It was a beautiful place. And, just really loved it there, and I'd always kid Pat about New Zealand and everything. When Pat was a great guy and a great wrestler.
A wrestler very much like you in terms of the scientific style, a lot of mat work, exciting mat work. We throw out another name, a little bit different, the guy you won the belt from, Harley Race.
Harley was probably one of the toughest guys that I ever faced. Harley wouldn't quit for anything. You'd have to kill Harley and make him quit. And
Yep.
he was one of the hard-headedest, most focused guys I've ever seen. And he took the wrestling business very seriously. And Harley would hurt you if you tried to get out of hand with him.
A lot of his moves were a little unorthodox for the time, and now you see wrestlers, things that he did maybe for the first time, a diving headbutt, different types of suplexes. Everybody does it.
That's true, and I remember several times, and Harley would slam me, and he'd start climbing up that top rope, and I'd be trying to get up, and he'd dive head first at me, and I thought, oh man, I hope he don't hit me in the mouth.
Speaking of being slammed on the mat, I can't help but bring up the Kiel Auditorium ring. Was that the hardest ring you ever worked in your life, was the Kiel Auditorium ring?
It was the hardest ring I worked in, and also it was one of the largest.
One of the biggest, 24 by 24.
Yeah, it was huge, and a lot of times it'd throw off your timing a little bit because it was such a large ring. But the center of it, I think it must have had a post in it or something. Because every time you get body slammed in the center of that ring, you could feel it all the way to the toes.
Oh yeah, it was a hard ring. Okay, one name you were certainly attached with here because you wrestled him so often, Dory Funk Jr. Those were great matches between Jack Briscoe and Dory Funk Jr.
Yeah, Dory, our styles were very similar, and of course, Junior being a second-generation wrestler, and his dad taught him an awful lot, and he learned an awful lot on his own. He was a much better wrestler than his dad was. His dad was
Yes.
more of a brawler, and Junior, when he was first started out, got to work with guys like Kaniski and O'Connor and Thez. So he learned all the technical part at an early age, which helped carry him through the World's Championship and many years of being successful. And I really enjoyed wrestling Junior because it was always a good, hard-fought match and exchanging holds and just getting after it, and a lot of mat wrestling.
5 times you and Dory Funk Jr. went the hour in St. Louis. 5 times. And I can still remember some of those matches, whether it be him trying to reverse your figure 4 leg lock or you countering the spinning toe hold. I can remember 10,000 people at Kiel Auditorium coming out of their seats together to roar. That had to be a feeling in the ring, that reaction of the crowd, didn't it?
It was a great feeling, and it was great to have the fans of St. Louis behind me and trying to counteract the spinning toe hold. I owe a lot to Pat O'Connor for that. Pat flew to Florida one time and spent a week in Florida working out with me, trying to, he knew how badly I wanted to win the World's Championship from Junior, and Pat came to Florida, and on several occasions, one time we flew down there for an entire week, and for a week we worked on reversing the spinning toe hold, and it helped me tremendously.
Let's mention one other guy who, as you were a little bit further along in your career, he was really just starting out and certainly had a long and storied career, but you wrestled him here 2 or 3 times, Ric Flair.
Yeah, Rick was great, man. He was truly the nature boy.
He was the nature boy. He lived his image.
He lived his image, and Rick was a great athlete and a great wrestler, and he had the heart, he had the desire. He wanted it as bad as I did, and you could just tell right away that when I first saw Rick here that he was going to be a great wrestler.
And I have to mention the guy that you idolized, and you got to wrestle early in your career. You told me about. We can't probably talk enough about him, Lou Thez.
The greatest of all time. Lou was just the greatest. He was not only a great wrestler and a great champion, but he was a great man too. He was a very highly intelligent man, and he loved the wrestling business more than anything in the world. And Lou could tell talent when he seen it. And a lot of the young guys that had a lot of talent, Lou would go out of his way to help them out and teach them and tell them the pitfalls and
he helped things. You too, because he knew you had the talent.
He helped me a great deal, and I owe Lou a lot. And he is one of the greatest wrestlers I think that ever lived.
Now, on the other side of the coin, we'll mention one other name, because you drew a lot of money here with him. Had some big matches with him. A different style, Dick the Bruiser.
Dick the Bruiser, yeah. Well, he was one of the guys I grew up studying the magazines over, seeing him in the magazines everywhere. So when I first wrestled him, I would just thought it was a dream come true. I couldn't believe I was actually in the ring with Dick the
A
Bruiser.
little bit different than O'Connor or Thez or
Oh
Dory.
yeah, I just every time he moved, I'd flinch and see where he was or where he was going or what he was doing. And as soon as he'd grab a hold of me, first thing he'd do is try to throw me out of the ring. And here he'd come out on the floor and pounding you into the floor and then throw you back into the ring. As soon as he'd throw you back in the ring, he'd follow you in and throw you out the other side.
Out the other side. We should mention, Jack, you have written a book. It's called Briscoe. And this is something that any wrestling fan of St. Louis, any wrestling fan from around the world has to take a look at this. It's for sale, highspots.com. On highspots.com, take a look right there, highspots.com. You want to take a look at this book, Briscoe, because I know, and all the fans of St. Louis know everything that Jack Briscoe did in this town, how much he meant to the success of wrestling in this town, how much he added to the prestige that this sport had in St. Louis, thanks to Sam Muchnick, Lou Thez, and people like Jack Briscoe. Jack, it's an honor to be back here with you.
Thank you very much, Larry. Good to see you again.
It's been fun.
Thanks for the meal.
Oh, thank you.
Unique and affordable gifts and collectibles on the internet are available at the Black Bear Haversack Trading Post. Go to blackbearhaversack.com. Semi-precious stones, bone horn and soapstone items, abalone shells, genuine coyote and water buffalo teeth pendants, products for Civil War, medieval, and Renaissance reenactments, and so much more. For a 10% discount, mention SICW number 7 when you place your order. It's blackbearhaversack.com for top quality at reduced prices.
From the World Series champion Tigers in '45 to the Gateway Grizzlies to the '03 State Tournament Belleville East Lancers. A tradition in baseball and an even longer tradition in fine furniture and service. Miller Furniture, 1004 East Main in Belleville.
Wrestling fans, join SICW Saturday, December the 10th in the East Carondelet Community Center, where we are joined by the one and only legendary manager, the Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart. Great wrestling action featuring all of your usual favorites, plus again, the one and only Jimmy Hart. Reserve your tickets now at 618-286-4848. Again, that's 286-4848. Jack Briscoe, a great wrestler, a great champion, and a great man. It is SICW's honor to present you with this special look back at one of the all-time greats of the wrestling industry. And it is in that tradition that SICW is proud to carry on the old school ways each and every month in the East Carondelet Community Center and each and every week right here on Charter Cable and on the Fight TV app. I'm Drew Abbenhouse. We'll see you right here next week for more Wrestling Explosion.